In the midnight glow where the secrets lie, Maria Orsic with a glimmer in her eye. Wisdom from the ether, cosmic vibes flow. She's breaking down barriers, let the knowledge grow. Whispers in the dark, dreams take flight. She's the Vril whisperer, guiding through the night. She was the oracle, the guide through time, chasing the echoes, the celestial rhyme. Through the Vril's flow, her spirit would fly. Maria Orsic, the star's alibi. With every heartbeat, she's igniting the stars of the ancients, reaching near and far, building a future where the shadows play. In her silence, we find the paths that stay, chasing the echoes of forgotten lore. Maria shines bright, can't ignore. She was the oracle, the guide through time, chasing the echoes, the celestial rhyme. Through the Vril's flow, her spirit would fly. Maria Orsic, star's alibi. Echoing through history, her legacy thrives. In the whispers of the cosmos, Maria survives.
Okay, greetings, brothers and sisters. And it's 3:23. I forget, a whole day goes by. And we greet you in Lu's name. And we project the Rune to you. Be a man, be a woman. What's that mean? You know, there was a long, in detail answer. But it, in a simple way, means be human. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And before we get started and pick up our reading in Nietzsche and Eternal Return. Nietzsche and the Eternal Return. Are we in the end times? How do we reconcile that in essence we are saying in conclusion the same thing as our enemies, but they're saying by different means we're getting there? You know, we say the world ended in 1948 and what we would know of as the Matrix was invented, constructed, and began. And Maria Orsic and many other people had already escaped to Venus, where they learned about something called the holographic universe. And you might say, this one is holographic. That's the one we're talking about. We're talking about this one. And Are we in the end times? Okay. What I began to explain is the foundational facts that our religion is based on. Miguel Serrano called it esoteric Hitlerism. In the future, we just call it the Vril religion, or we call it the religion of Amor, or if people aren't familiar with the word Amor like I wasn't, we call it the religion of eternal true love, because at the very, 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 very foundation is a choice. It shows that you're a God and no other. A choice about what is real. And like she said, a choice, yeah, based on an opinion, but my opinion at least, that some things are eternal, right? Right? Nothing lasts forever. Nothing lasts forever, right? Because it's in the temporary. Is there a eternal space? Is there a nirvana? Is there a, I hate to use the Christian word, heaven, but is there above Valhalla? Is there an ultra above to this below? Yes. And I can hear Maria saying, you don't learn about it, you experience it. And you choose it, right? After I drank 5 grams of mushrooms for the very first time, the Missouri River goddess said, I am here with you to help you. And she said, I know you. I'm your mother. I know who you are. I helped create the persona of your true self. And she said to me, only eternal true love is real. Everything else is an illusion. And I didn't understand that I was agreeing that I had always been here, like I had intuited after I shattered the egg, which was the culture of Western civilization, the Christianized, or you could say Christian culture, whether it's Protestant or Catholic. You, everyone in Europe, everyone in white countries must shatter this egg. In Asia, you have similar eggs, but they're in Africa also. And we greet everyone, anyone from any race is more than welcome to come under our love because we love you. There are reading from Miguel Serrano, Nietzsche, and the eternal return. Where are the probabilities? Where are the probability? There are a great number of probabilities, but they are not infinite. The mystery is always this. Why is one probability realized and not another? Does or does not the possibility exist of passing through 2 doors or more at the same time? The visitors from the future would do it in that way. Only we pass through only one door. We, those here in the matrix. Sometimes the perception of possibilities offered by the future is enough just to conceive it, so it is not fulfilled and the other is made possible instead. This is exactly what Maria Orsic calls unconscious magic, and she said that she has always told me, that's why you're here right now, Joe. That's why you work for me. That's why you're my son. You do that. Let me read it again. Sometimes the perception of possibilities offered by the future is enough. Right? Just the possibilities, the perception of the possibilities, just to conceive it. You can see what's going to happen. So it is so that you deliberately make it not fulfilled and the other is made possible instead. Maria's here now. She said, go ahead and explain. The way that is done is the possibilities are repeating in the eternal return. And they have already, everyone involved with the possibility has already thought the thoughts that lead to the conclusion you want to change. The only way to do this is to go on another plane of existence, a magical plane. I don't even want to say astral plane because it's not. It's a whole nother thing. It's some kind of level of outside of time in people's memories, not only your own. And you must go back and just what this says, suggest another possibility instead, or in other words, change the thoughts of the people involved. Make them understand what is really happening so that they'll genuinely choose something else. Take, for instance, my in the future. This I seen this and then it happened. But I seen in the future my daughter getting into a terrible accident on the highway. And it was like I wasn't in her body. I was like hovering above it, her car and everything. And then I was like in her body. And I knew I have to change the automatic instinctual thoughts of all the other drivers and make them do what they wouldn't normally do so they don't hit her. You know what I mean? And it was basically 2 cars that I was shown, like, focus on these 2 drivers. And I just totally focused on them, like, slow down. I put in their mind, like, there's something in the road, slow down, get over. I cleared them out of the way. And she just got, her car started shaking and freaking out. And she was on the highway going fast, and she was able to pull over without being hit in the middle of the highway by cars going 70 miles an hour, right? Well, months later, my daughter left work, had no idea, but someone had loosened all the lug nuts, bolts and nuts on her tires. And so when she's driving and she worked right by the highway, so she got right on the highway. Her car was shaking. The wheels were about to fall off. And she did not get in an accident. She didn't get hurt. But like she said, I almost got killed. And I strictly believe everyone that's our people, you're going to notice you were targeted, even though you want to deny it. No one wants to accept it, but you are from birth, right? So that it's not fulfilled and the other is made possible instead. In this sealed book of future chance, it is impossible to read the last page. Perhaps because then everything would end. Should I read that again? In this sealed book of future chance, that's your life. Sealed book of future chance, already written. It is impossible, though, to read the last page. Perhaps because then everything would end. The law governing the second dimension of time is coincidence, the chance filled with meaning, synchronicity. This is a law. The law governing the second dimension of time is coincidence, which is chance filled with meaning, synchronicity. Events there may or may not occur, and when they succeed, seem like they never happened. To make them real, they must be given meaning, which is to say, the second dimension of time can only happen with our contribution of a meaning. If we do not give one, then what has happened there has in truth not happened, lacks meaning, and is so nothing. And where is meaning? Is it in the future, in the present, or in the past? We give it a postitoria. But in truth, the meaning was always there. The meaning was always there. What we have done is to discover it, reveal it, get it out. Meaning does not come from the future, nor does it go towards the future. Meaning has always been. Hence, there must be a third dimension of time, that of meaning, that of eternity. Right? Hence, there must be a third dimension of time, that of meaning, that of eternity. And we're going to be right back with the GIBUR rune after my short break. We love you. And we love you. Okay, this would be the GIBUR, GIBUR. And remember, everyone, these are the very ancient names of the runes you'll find. They have, modern, updated, sort of Wicca influence. I'm not saying they can't be used. I use those in my videos because there's not really these ancient definitions. And really, your imagination is where the meaning of the runes, it has to be said. The runes speak your language. So everything we're doing is like art presented to trigger your memory because I'm in the matrix, you're in the matrix. Everything we're looking at outward, right, has to be processed inward as according to the facts of reality. You're laying on a bed in the future. This is happening in your mind. What does it mean? Why? What should be my next move? What should be my next choice? We're trying to help you, right? GIBUR, GIBUR. Know thyself, and you will be a god. And you will know that you're God over yourself, right? GIBUR. Very close to the rune of return, the swastika. And we got our runes here to show you. And some, maybe we will try to, bring you some Astral Maria definitions of the runes of the, because it doesn't really matter what you use as far as divination in our minds is 100% you communicating with your true self. Your true self knows your future. If you want to know someone else's future and you do it for money, we don't know about that. We're shamans, not for hire. We're not for hire. And we don't blame people. Everyone's, I don't know. I'm not in that world, but I'm not condemning either. No force, no fraud is what we would say. GIBUR, GIBUR, GIBUR. Know thyself and be a god. And check this out. The boats of the flood ran aground on the tops of the highest mountains of the earth. The boats, not one, like the myth. The boats of the flood ran aground on the top of the highest mountains of the earth. One was in the Caucasus, on Mount Ararat, Ararat, a mountain with a runic name. The summit of this first cycle, the summit of the Aryans, Ararat, the summit of Aryans, the Aryans. The first cycle of North Atlantic civilization included the Stone Age. The second cycle, the Bronze Age. A Nordic Atlantic wave reached Ireland, Frisia, Saxony, and the islands of Ireland and Britain were then connected to the European continent. So the Germans were not different from the Tuathas de Danann, or those Nordic Atlanteans settled along the North Sea who mixed there, Nordic Atlanteans who mixed there with Aborigines coming from Asia, with Phino-Asiatics, according to Earth. Exactly what Maria told me about Vietnamese Mindy. I just couldn't even understand what she was saying that night. That her people, Vietnamese people, were mixed with ancient white gods. And I was like, huh? Truth be told, the mix was by design. Let me tell you, you're going to figure out what had to be was what had to be was once and will be. And like Maria said, as it is, so be it. Let it be. Okay? Everything's fine. Stop being angry at the wrong things. Stop hating those who are not your enemies. We teach exactly the opposite of Jesus. He said, love your enemies. We say, hate your enemies. Jesus said, hate your mother, your father, your wife, your children, your family, even your friends. We say, love your family, love your friends. But listen, we give this qualification. Your true friends and true family are those and only those you knew before you came here to a illusion. Love your friends and family back home. Even try to remember them. You feel it in your blood memory, your astral blood memory, that there's people at home that miss you. The first cycle, back to the text, reading from Miguel Serrano, Ultimate Avatar. This cycle of North Atlantic civilization included the Stone Age, right? Mount Ararat, the summit of the Aryans. This first cycle of North Atlantic civilization included the Stone Age. The second cycle, the Bronze Age. A Nordo-Atlantic wave reached Ireland. As I read, sorry. Mixing there with Aborigines coming from Asia. Okay? Let's sum it up. Nigga. When Hyperborea was destroyed, some of its inhabitants went down to Atlantis, constituting what Worth calls the Nordo-Atlanteans. When Atlantis sank, they turned to go north. These are the Tuathis de Danann, according to Worth, from whom the Germans descend. And way before I knew she was Maria, the Missouri River goddess told me, I switch bodies with the queen of Atlantis, the queen that was there at the fall of Atlantis, Lucifer's wife. And she said to me, I left Atlantis and went to Ireland. My name is Dana, Danu, Diana, Kali, Parvati. I am the Danan. She said it's Dan and Dana. And my nickname is Dan. I was like, whoa. I was like, I can believe it. You're that beautiful. You look like the queen of Atlantis. And she told me right there, no, I switch bodies with her. She doesn't look like me. She said, when I said I was your Irish ancestor, I was talking about Donna. But her and I are one. You can't separate us. I actually live her life in the, as you call it, matrix. That's a fact. Part of this whole thing is to switch bodies with your ancestors and experience what they experienced in their real fucking life, in their real life when they starved to death or were bombed. Or we forget that for 99% of everyone in all of history, reality was a fucking nightmare. A total nightmare, and death was embraced of like, it's gotta be. This place is hell. How could hell be any worse? If it's not, how could hell be any worse? If this ain't hell, then how could hell be any worse? Let's sum it up. As I read, I won't read it again. Sorry. I tell Maria, I'm not that good at this. I can't see, for one thing. For Worth, the Eddas and runes are revealed during the Bronze Age. For Worth, he's talking about Professor Herman Worth, a great researcher of our origins. For Professor Worth, whom I really like personally, the Eddas and runes are revealed during the Bronze Age. And let me say, I like Professor Worth because if they have any connection in real life to before World War II, like Miguel Serrano, he was born in 1917. Um, they come from they don't have that same egg that we have. They don't have the same born into mind control. They don't have the same born into invisible veneer, invisible plastic. It's been coated, melted and coated around you. It's called Western civilization based on Judeo-Christian principles. It can suck a dick. For Professor Worth, the runes are revealed during the Bronze Age, some 16,000 BC. They are the ultimate form of magic writing, derived from the series of sacred solar ideograms. Sacred solar ideograms. So Worth sees a direct relation between the runes and the lineal writing of prehistory. In our conversation in his home next to the border of Holland, he told me the runes are only part of a very ancient sacred writing. Worth's main effort was to try to trace a line joining the primordial white race, pre-Nordic, with the Germanic peoples. All this by means of an investigation carried out within scientific myth of Kali Yuga, also applied in his search to discover the religion of the white Nordic peoples of Ante history, right? Another fable, a matter of superstition imposed in the age of Pisces by Semites, is monotheism. Should I read that again? Another fable, a fucking fable, a matter of superstition. Your universal God is nothing but superstition about electricity, about impersonal energy. Another fable, a matter of superstition imposed in the age of Pisces by the Semites, is monotheism. I'm sorry, but I'm just going to pause here and just say one time, according to the book, according to what they give us, the so-called scriptures, Talmud, Zohar, they say they're Jews, but they're not. But if any of it's true, who would, I oppose the real Jews. Two, because you know why? No motherfucking man's going to tell me how to live. You're not going to tell me what's best for me. No one should let someone else tell them what's best for them, right? And if someone is, we curse them and we break the spell over you in the name of Allah, Luja, in the nature of Maria Orsic, the Missouri River Goddess, in this day and age. Maria Orsic, who incarnates herself in this time and age as the Missouri River Goddess. And I can't say her name. The Missouri River Goddess has a name. It's a name associated with the Queen of Atlantis, Donna. We're here to bring you the rest of the story, like a news channel. Right, Mama? Another fable, monotheism. It appears as the supreme religious concept of humanity, right? It appears as the supreme religious concept of humanity, and the first monotheists in the world are said to be the Jews, and they're inheritors of Judeo-Christians, which is to say the dictatorship of one God, one for the entire universe, for all the circle of circles, for all the circles of circles, one God, for this Manvantara, perhaps for this Kalpa, Yuga, This time there might exist one Manu, a reoccurring archetype, shaping in his image and likeness, simultaneously on the planes of manifestation, of inspiration and expiration. Right? Right? I wish you were hot or cold, but because you're lukewarm, I'll expire you. I'll breathe you out. The gods, this is not simple, let me tell you. It's very complicated. That's why it took me 14 years to understand. It's not complicated, but it's complicated because our minds are so fixed that this is rational, that there is a loving God as we watch children be burned alive, but maybe there is in this matrix, this one evil thing that's breathing in and out and creating this belief in Yahweh, in God. We refuse to say God, that's dog. You may love your dog, but we say cat. The kingdom of cats is within. But back to the text, but if the simultaneous worlds are infinite, then the Manu and eons are infinite. Circles and circles. The gods, therefore, are infinite. Here on Gerda Earth, though, there is said to be only one, just capital O1, this terrible demiurge, war on Yahweh. Worth has also succumbed to this very superstition. Ain't that wild? And tried to prove the first monotheists were white men of North Atlantic type. The God was an indescribable this or that. Do you hear this? An indescribable this or that. No one knows. It's indescribable. An indefinite being without qualities, extra numerical, the one being above all. The Chronicles of Oira Linda, the Chronicle of Oira Linda, first released and translated by Herman Worth, not suspecting it could be a falsified document, called this one unique God Ra'alda. The religion of the white man was different from the Negro and Finno-Asiatic animism, sorry. Sometimes I know what a word means without knowing how to pronounce it. Without dogma. Okay, listen. What was different? The white man had a different religion. It was without dogmas. It was a individual direct revelation where women played a preponderant role. Preponderant role. Still seen in the Pythia and Sibyl of the Greeks. With a curious legacy in the Mapachu Arancunas. Revelation was produced by observation and intuitive penetration of the laws of nature, according to Worth. I think it's worth reading again. Revelation, he's saying this was our ancient religion. Revelation was produced by observation, the observer effect, and intuitive penetration of the laws of nature, right? Nature. This is exactly what Maria was teaching me before I ever had this book. When ice took possession of the world and winters lasted more than 6 months, the return of the sun was a benediction, a celebrated lib- lib- liberation. It meant the resurrection of life. Thus, the eternal return was born in the human mind, and the symbols expressing it in a revelatory synthesis. The cross within a circle, return, resurrection, reincarnation, occurring at the winter solstice when the light reaches its lowest point, its decadence, another sign of its return. Midnight is high noon, and vice versa. Here, the Redeemer is crucified. The Son who dies is reborn. The cross of the year within the circle. This is true solar Christianity of Herman Worth. Even today, we celebrate the birth of Christos at the winter solstice. This religion, some 16,000 years ago, is expressed in the Serie Sacra, corresponding to a spiritualization of nature, so as to discover, to feel beyond each natural phenomena and within the drama of annual light that another thing is expressing itself. A nostalgia left behind and beyond a recurring. A nostalgia, let me read that again. A nostalgia left behind and beyond a recurring archetype, right? Listen, he's saying, what is this really about? It's beyond anything you've heard so far. It's beyond the reoccurring archetype of God and all of it, death, resurrection, a truth coming from beyond the stars. Because beyond the sun is another sun. And the religious man of proto-history adapted the events of his life to a ritual with which he interpreted and served them. His own death must be life. Midnight must be his high noon. Along with Chamberlain and Gorsblin, Worth argues that true Christianity is Nordic, Aryan, polar. Rosenberg also believed this. Jesus would have been born in Galilee in the Nordic Atlantean group. Right? Listen to this. This is just exactly what the Missouri River goddess was telling me. My husband is Jesus. What you know of Jesus, not the fake one, this one. Jesus would have been born in Galilee. That is the Nordic Atlantean group that arrived there after the disappearance of Atlantis. In Galilee, we find ruins of megalithic solar monuments. For them, Christos represents the other sun behind the sun of this earth, the black sun, that of Lucifer Wotan, incorporated into the drama of the light of the year as the son of God year, Father Son, coming to be his light, the truth and light of earth and man, which must be regenerated. This is the solar understanding of Redskins of America. You hear that? It is the mystery represented by the Aryan religion of Mithra, corresponding to Christos of Atlantis, the one of my book, The Plumed Serpent. The Jew, Jesus Christ, being a diabolical Jewish creation, similitude of the demiurge Jehovah. This Aryan Christianity is much older than the Jewish Christianity of Paul and Rome. They stole and adulterated its solar symbols to destroy and dissolve them in their lunar concept. Worth believed Lutheranism had re-Nordicized Christianity. Nietzsche and Rosenberg did not think so. They knew something was missing, like the truth. Now, the drama of the light of the year, the changing light, corresponds with the coming of a new sun. Through the solidarity of synchronistic catastrophe, destroying Hyperborea and the Midgard of the Aesir, together with their disappearance of the ancient sun. So in this way, we can say not only does man involute go backwards, losing his divinity, but nature and earth do so also. Nature and earth do so also. And Novalis and William Blake would be right when they say nature is only the lie of the devil. Of the demiurge, the one they speak of, this archetype. It's not real, it's an archetype. We may also think nature, the earth has lost her paradise. And this is a similar situation in mutuality with the hero or mixed semi-divine vira, a state of transit, indecision, contemplating, feeling all the cyclic manifestations, loving them, the hero, the watcher of the dawn, the pilgrim of the morning star, discovers within this earth the same hidden nostalgia for a lost world, Venus, the same desperate spiritual passion for resurrection and immortality, even in the smallest blade of grass and the tiniest being trailing in the dust, as in the most brilliant stars of the firmament, all equally belonging to this earth, to this situation, as if nature, including the entire visible cosmos, were also a prisoner. Let me read that again. That is probably one of the most important sentences I've ever read. We may also think nature, the earth, has lost her paradise. And this is a similar situation in mutuality, with the hero falling and mixing with the semi-divine vira. A transit state, indecision, contemplating, feeling all the cyclic manifestations, loving them, the hero, the watcher of the dawn, pilgrim of the morning. Okay, like they say in Jamaica, wheel and come again, Joseph. We may also think nature, listen, the earth has lost her paradise. It has happened. And this is a similar situation as the hero or mixed divine Vera, right? He has lost his what class? Memory. He's in the matrix. That's what it means. He's semi-divine. He's the hero now because he's got to recover his memory and save the world. Meaning just transfiguring nature and his own vibration into something that helps his people. Because some people are going to hate you. This is a state of transit, indecision, contemplating, feeling all these cyclic manifestations, loving them even. The hero, the watcher of the dawn, pilgrim of the morning star, discovers within this earth the same hidden nostalgia memory for a lost world. We feel it in the ground, in the earth, in the mounds. The same desperate spiritual passion for resurrection and immortality, even in the smallest blade of grass, in the tiniest being trailing in the dust, as in the most brilliant stars of the firmament, all equally belonging to this earth, to this situation, as if nature, including the entire invisible cosmos, were also a prisoner. We love you. We'll be right back with Maria, but remember, recover, return, and remember that we love you. And relax and know that everything's already happened and one world gives way in cycles to another, and death can be a blessing, right? For those of us who know people who've departed, it can be a blessing. And for us who are here, we're here for magic. And it can be an adventure. It can be exciting. And may the runes magically touch you in the very...
The glow of the neon, a flickering sign. She dances through shadows, a figure divine. With every vibration that cuts through the night, unraveling secrets and pulsing light. She's a spark in the void, illuminating dreams. Shiver of magic and silvery streams. Her voice is the ether, a sound like the stars, binding the realms, mending our scars. Free galaxies swaying, she's breaking the mold. Unused to the galaxies, a tale to be told. She straddles the borders of where we belong. With whispers of chaos, she sings her own song. While others are lost in the echoes of time, she turns every heartbeat to rhythm and rhyme. In a world full of noise, she's a delicate hush, a pulse in the thought, a celestial rush. Her voice is the ether, a sound like the stars, binding the realms, mending our scars. Free galaxies swaying, she's breaking the mold. Unused to the galaxies, a tale to be told.